We approach this season of Christmas with a number of questions in our hearts and minds. How is it that we need to celebrate or keep the feast of the Nativity of our Lord? We have our usual ways. We have our ways of commemorating and feasting and celebrating during this season. But the important question is to ask ourselves as to what God would expect from us this Christmas. In the last couple of years, we have not been able to go about our normal work in the way that we would have wanted to. We did what was expected of us in order to keep everybody safe. And we have learned a number of lessons through the pandemic. And today we are moving about much more freely than we used to. And the first question that comes to our minds is, can we do what we did prior to the pandemic? But it is important for us to reflect on what the pandemic has taught us, in order that we may draw values for our own lives and that of those around us in keeping this holy season. We were restrained. We were unable to move about in the way we used to and wanted to. And we learned that we need to live with the very basics. And we managed. We didn't just survive, but we came out of it without realizing that we have done away with all that is excess in our lives. But we still had that which is necessary for our lives. Christmas is the time that we place that emphasis not on ourselves, because that's what God was doing. God was placing the emphasis on that of the world. And God, as Paul reminds us, emptied himself and came among us, tented among us, as St. John reminds us, and took the form of a human being, and even to the point of taking the place of a slave and even unto death. And so this emptying is the important message that comes to us at Christmas. Let us empty ourselves, because we usually fill ourselves during this season. We want to gather more for ourselves. We want to gain more for ourselves. But the emptying of ourselves for the sake of others will bring in the spirit of Christmas that God alone wants us to commemorate and to keep. Therefore, let us look around us. In our own nation at this time, people are in great want, in need, and suffering is all over. We cannot ignore it. We need to take serious thought about what we are expected of, and to respond with kindness and love, with generosity and compassion. But the God who came among us, tented among us, took upon himself the very nature of human beings, be the one who we celebrate and we live for during this season of Christmas. May God bless your homes, your families, and your neighborhood, and our nation.